How did Biden do not talking?
How close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states, everybody. And China, nothing, and Russia, nothing, and India, nothing. Because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history.
Not great. But a lot of people have resting 25th Amendment face.
That's Jon Stewart tossing in some humor to soften the blow after Biden's disastrous CNN debate performance. But let's be honest, no amount of jokes can clean up that mess. Stewart, who's usually quick to defend the left, couldn't help but acknowledge the obvious. Biden looked completely unprepared and out of his depth. And he did it with the kind of sarcasm that barely masks the concern underneath. It wasn't just one gaffe. It was a pattern of confusion, rambling, and blank stares that made everyone watching feel secondhand embarrassment. The truth is, Stewart's quip about Biden needing a realtor in New Zealand wasn't just a throwaway punchline, it was a signal. A sign that even the comedy wing of the Democratic media machine is struggling to spin what they just witnessed. If Biden's allies are this rattled, you can imagine what his opponents are thinking.
We know the bar that's been set up for each to pass. Biden has to not look old and not have a senior moment. Go.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Need to call a real estate agent in New Zealand. Okay, a high-pressure situation. A lot of times you can confuse saving Medicare with beating it. I'm sure it's not something that repeated throughout the debate, causing Democrats across the country to either jump out of windows or vomit silently into the nearest recycling bin. Anybody can talking.
I don't know if you caught it, but go back and listen to that clip. The audience wasn't laughing, they were stunned. Biden didn't just stumble, he fell apart. It wasn't a one-time slip, it was a pattern and everyone could see it. What makes it worse is how the media has been covering for him. They called him sharp and focused, but this debate blew that lie wide open. Now they're scrambling to spin disasters as minor slips, hoping no one notices how bad it really was.
Now, Democrats will say that any criticism like this, especially of Biden, is unfair. Because you just don't know Biden like they know Biden.
President Biden, who I've been around numerous times just in this last year, is sharp, he's focused, he's bright.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart, he's on his game.
I was in almost every meeting with the president, and the president was in front of and on top of it all, coordinating and directing leaders who are in charge of America's national security, not to mention our allies around the globe.
Did anyone film that?
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
No!
Now that is bad, but in the interest of fairness, the excuse rolled out was that Biden had a cold. Sure, maybe a cold explains the blank stares, the confused rambling, the forgotten words, but after a night's sleep and a pharmaceutical miracle from his staff, he was supposedly back to normal. So what did that look like? Well, he came out swinging with erratic energy, muddled thoughts, and more forced optimism than clarity. It was less of a comeback and more of a bizarre encore, and that gives you a clear picture of how well that recovery actually turned out.
I'm serious. Failing, I don't know, a president wouldn't trade places with America in a heartbeat. He's dead wrong. America's not a losing nation. America's winning. As I stand here today, I can honestly say I've never been more optimistic about America's future in my whole career. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. He's got more trials coming up. Well, time for that. Look.
Neat. I can't imagine why he turned down that drug test Trump suggested. It's not like his behavior screamed completely natural and stable. Watching him swing from drowsy to defensive, back to confused, then weirdly energized is not exactly reassuring. It's the kind of mood whiplash you expect from someone who's either severely overcaffeinated or just barely holding it together with pharmaceutical glue. Because, let's be honest, what we saw wasn't just a rough night. It was a broadcasted cry for help wrapped in a suit and a teleprompter. The slurred delivery, the mental blanks, the strained attempts at inspiration, it all added up to something far worse than just a bad debate night. It made you wonder who's really running the show, and how long can they keep pretending it's fine? But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of this is just politics as usual in 2025. Maybe confusion is the new charisma. Either way, the American people are watching, and they're not buying the excuses anymore. Let me know what you think. Are we looking at a temporary stumble or a long-term problem? Was that performance a fluke or a preview of the next 4 years? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. That stuff really helps us out. Until next time, this has been NERC News. Thanks for watching.